The movie begins by telling a story. There was a big rock from space heading towards Earth. Everybody got scared, and all the countries worked together to stop it by crashing lots of rockets into it. They succeeded. Yay, the good part is that nobody got hurt by the rock. But here comes the bad part. Those rockets had chemicals in them, and when they exploded, the chemicals spread all over Earth. That made animals change into scary monsters. The number of people went down a lot, like almost all of them disappeared. The few left hid in caves or bunkers to stay safe. Joel and his buddies live in one of those bunkers. They search for food, fight monsters, and hunt with their kids. Joel isn't tough. He doesn't hunt but cooks and fixes radios. One day their bunker is breached by a monster. He freezes when he faces the monster, feeling like he's seeing it for the first time. He just stood there quietly. Luckily, Joel's friend arrived and chopped off the ant monster's head. Let's go back 7 years earlier in Fairfield, California. Joel and his girlfriend Amy were having fun painting. Suddenly, they saw a flare, a sign of monster danger in the city, and they quickly left. Now Joel is skilled at painting monsters he's faced and has written down how to defeat them. One night, after many tries, he finally connected with Amy's colony on the radio. He was happy to talk to her and complained about his colony being attacked by ants. The last time Joel saw Amy, he asked about her colony, which was about 85 miles away, taking at least a week to reach. Despite lacking experience dealing with dangerous monsters, Joel was determined to go alone. His friends tried to dissuade him, but love made him stubborn. Once outside, Joel struggled to figure out which way was west but pressed on with his own decision. He eventually arrived at the settlement and entered a house's backyard. Joel got a big surprise when he saw a scary frog-like creature that wanted to gobble him up. Then out of nowhere, a friendly dog named Boy came to his rescue. Just as the frog monster was about to snatch him up, Joel and Boy made a quick getaway and hid in a small bus, which turned out to be Boy's owner's spot. Joel bunked there for the night until dawn. When morning came, Joel set off on his journey again. Carrying the owner's clothes, Boy insisted on tagging along, so they hit the road together. As they traveled, Joel was about to munch on a berry he found, but Boy stopped him just in time. Turns out it was a poisonous berry. While reading a book while walking, Joel didn't realize there was a trap hole that he accidentally stepped on and fell into it. He tried to get out, and luckily there were two people who saved him, Clyde and Minnow, the little kid, and they went with them to their boat. On the way, they met a giant snail. Clyde asked Joel to take off his clothes and put them between the shells of the giant snail, and the snail monster left. That was to spread Joel's scent to trick the monster that kept following them. That night they rested in a cave. Before he could sleep, Joel and his friends had to continue their journey. There was no food and no sleep because the monster would know their whereabouts in the cave. Joel became more skilled and learned a lot about the monsters that Clyde taught him. Until finally they had to part ways because their destinations were different. That night they took shelter in a house because it was raining, and it had been 7 years since Joel had ever felt rain. He met a Mavis robot that was still active. This was a human-made robot with cutting-edge technology. It used artificial intelligence, and Joel didn't expect to meet a Mavis that was still active. They chatted, and Mavis gave some of its power to a radio that Joel brought to be able to communicate with Amy, and contacted Amy, who said that her colony was about to leave by boat because someone wanted to save them. In the middle of their radio conversation, they were cut off because Mavis ran out of battery power for that. As Mavis ran out of power, it tried to comfort Joel by playing a song until it finally ran out of power completely. In the morning, Joel continued his journey. He found a gobbler trap like the one he found at the beginning of his meeting with Minnow and Clyde, which meant Queen Sand Gobbler was around them. Because of his instinct, Boy ran away, followed by Joel, and they saw signs of the Queen Sand Gobbler under the ground. Joel lured it by throwing a doll to another place. Then the Queen Sand Gobbler attacked it fiercely. Joel, who was shocked, ran away until he finally fell near the river and hid with Boy in a tree. When the monster left, Boy took his favorite dress that fell into the river, even though Joel had forbidden him. Joel finally threw the grenade that Clyde gave him into the Queen Sand Gobbler's mouth when it was about to eat Joel. The monster was shattered into pieces. Then Joel crossed the river to continue his journey. But he realized that something was biting his body. He panicked and disgustedly let it go. With annoyance, he scolded Boy and didn't want to listen to his words. Because he knew he was being scolded, Boy left somewhere. Joel, who continued his journey, felt dizzier and began to hallucinate. Then he ate the anti-poison fern that Clyde told him before. Finally, Joel found Amy in the forest, and Joel just kissed Amy right away. After he woke up, Amy told him that actually when she was in the forest, Joel didn't kiss Amy but old Pete, one of Amy's colony members. where most of Amy's colony were old people. Amy told him that there was a ship captain and his crew who wanted to help their colony find a new place using a cruise ship on the beach. Joel met them, and the person who was referred to as captain was a former Australian Navy officer. They looked very friendly to Amy's colony. Joel talked to Amy about his feelings because Joel had come from far away and risked his life just to meet Amy after 7 years of not seeing each other. But Amy, who used to be not the same as Amy now, had lost many of her closest people and also lost her lover who meant a lot to her last year. Joel felt his effort was no longer meaningful for Amy at all, even though Amy was still nice to Joel. Because he didn't want to disappoint the ship captain, Joel just followed wherever their destination was, and then chatting at night, and the captain told his experience of surviving on land and convinced the whole colony that across the ocean there was a chance. But in the middle of telling stories, Joel asked why they didn't fight back against the monsters, because if Joel could survive, surely everyone else could too. But without a good plan, they would still stick to their plan. Joel went into the radio communication tower and tried to fix it and contact his colony's radio. He saw the map that his friends gave him, and there was a small message written by his friends behind it that made Joel miss his friends more. Suddenly he connected with his friend's radio, and he described Joel's situation, who managed to reach Amy's colony. But the bad news was that Joel's bunker had a lot of leaks and they felt they wouldn't be able to survive long. Suddenly the radio connection was cut off. When he decided to return to his group, he noticed that the food provided by the ship captain was poisonous berries, which his friend Boy had warned him about earlier. Hurrying to inform Amy, he found her and the others intoxicated and difficult to talk to. Suddenly, Joel was struck from behind and lost consciousness. Later, he woke up to find himself and the others tied up. It became clear that the captain and his crew had deceived and exploited Amy's group. They discovered fuel in a stranded cruise ship on the shore. Using a remote control, they activated a mechanical crab monster connected to their own boat, causing chaos. Joel attempted to handle the monster while Amy tried to confront the captain's crew. A confrontation broke out between Amy and a female crew member, while Joel struggled with the monster, ultimately being thrown back by its powerful movements. The big crab creature got even angrier. Suddenly, a boy named Boy came to Joel. Joel asked Boy to go to Amy, who had fainted because the captain hit her. The captain and his 2 helpers went to the big boat from the cruise ship. While this happened, Joel tried to stop the angry crab creature from getting closer. The creature grabbed Joel with its leg and he held on to it. Amy woke up and gave Joel a cannonball to shoot into the creature's mouth. But Joel felt bad for the creature because he knew the captain was hurting it on purpose. Instead of shooting the creature, Joel shot the chain that held it, so the captain couldn't control it anymore. Then the creature let go of Joel and swam toward the captain and his helpers who were on the cruise ship. It ate them all. Finally, Joel and Amy's group of people were safe. After everything was finished, Joel returned home to his group. Before he left, he gave Amy a notebook with drawings and tips on how to beat the monsters. He said goodbye to everyone. Using what he had learned earlier, Joel and his friend Boy made it back to their group's place, where their shelter had been damaged a lot. He shared his knowledge and lessons with many other groups by speaking on the radio live. He inspired many people to go on adventures and survive outside to find a better life. And that's the end of the movie. Thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe. See you in the next video.